Welcome back to the Japanese Top AI Talent Interview. My name is Min. I'm the Chief AI Scientist from Appier. And since last year, it's our great pleasure to already interview 3 top Japanese AI talents in person. But very unfortunately, in 2020, we cannot do that anymore. So this time, our first interview in 2020 will be conducted in video conference call. And today is our great pleasure to have Professor Yamasaki from University of Tokyo to speak with us. Nice to meet you. And Professor Yamasaki is a true expert in advanced media processing, which includes multimedia processing, pattern recognition, computer vision, and of course, machine learning and deep learning. So it's a great pleasure for me to interview Professor Yamasaki. And just to give a little more information, this is actually my first time meeting Professor Yamasaki, but I have heard about a lot of great works from my colleagues in the community, the recent achievement, the recent industry collaborations, and the recent award. So let's welcome Professor Yamasaki.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to this great interview. It's a great, chance for Taiwanese researchers and Japanese researchers to communicate with each other, and of course, with the researchers all over the world. So first of all, I would like to introduce some of our representative works. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, let me introduce a little bit about our lab. So our research lab is, mainly focusing on image or video related researches, including multimedia or computer vision, pattern recognition, and machine learning, and also some industrial applications. So we have a lot of different research topics, as you can see in this slide. But especially our research group is interested in what we call attractiveness computing as one of the applications of our fundamental machine learning research activities. So what is attractiveness computing? Let me give you one example. You are now get dressed, right? And me too. And you wear dresses every day. So you must be familiar with fashion, right? So are you very confident to make yourself as fashionable as possible? Maybe not. Well, you might be, but I'm not. So even though you get dressed every day, so making your dresses, your clothes, very attractive is a different task. It's a very difficult task to understand, right? So you might need some experiences or sense of, you might need to be very talented to make something very attractive. So from an engineering point of view, we have been working on how we can understand such attractiveness or predict attractiveness first. And then, the predicting or understanding is not good enough. We would like to explain why and how it is attractive. If we could explain why it is, we could, enhance such attractiveness. So this slide shows only some representative works being done in our research group, such as presentation analysis or advertisement analysis, or becoming popular in social networks, or marketing and promotion, or recommendation or matching, or retech or prop tech. Well, because of the time limitation today, I would like to introduce only a few examples here. The first one is the advertisement analysis. So Minson, I would like to play a game with you first.
Sure.
So here we have 10,000 good banners, good advertisement images, and another 10,000 bad banners. And when we first started our project, we could achieve about 70% of accuracy in predicting, the good and bad banners, assuming that the ratio is 50-50. Mm-hmm. So the random guess would fall into 50% accuracy. Mm-hmm. And here you can see our best result at that time was 70%. Mm-hmm. How much would you think human would perform? 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%.
Mm-hmm. I'm betting human is good because we look at a lot of banner in our daily lives, so maybe more than 70%.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is a collaboration with some, advertisement, industry in Japan, and I asked 7 professionals who had been working in the company for more than, several years, and their performance was only 52% on average.
Oh, surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising, isn't it? It's like tossing a coin. So even the professionals in advertisement industry cannot predict which banner is better than the others. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the motivations we started, this kind of advertisement-related project in relation to our attractiveness to beauty. So after working on, analyzing what are the good banners and bad banners using the deep learning technologies, well, we have already achieved very high performance, result. So for the image analysis, image banners, we can already predict the click-through rate with the correlation coefficients of 0.83, which is quite high. And this technology is already accepted to the multimedia-related conference and also journal. And in addition to that, we can also predict the click-through rate for video banners, because the video is an emerging media in online advertisement. And the people would think that, video is more difficult to analyze. But, of course it is. But we have already achieved the correlation coefficients of 0.70 in order to, predict which video is more successful than the others. And here, for example, you can see the scatter plot for the image banners and video banners. So as you can see, the prediction is pretty accurate. Mm-hmm. The x-axis is the true click-through rate, and y-axis is the predicted click-through rate, which represents the click ratio. Mm-hmm. So by using this kind of technology, the designers of ad tech companies can, improve their design before or without publishing their, actual advertisement on the internet. So they can improve by themselves by using this kind of technology. And the same kind of technology can also be applied to other design fields like package design, as you can see in this slide. So for example, this design seems, delicious to us, right? But what's the trick? How can we improve to make this more, attractive or more catchy? So this is a collaboration with another company, Plug in Japan, and we have achieved a very high correlation coefficient of 0.56, which is very close to, the human performance. Mm-hmm. So, this technology can also be applied to, the design polishing. And another example is a presentation analysis. Now I'm presenting my own research topic. Right? Mm-hmm. And everybody in business have to do his or her presentation in front of the audience to promote their ideas or to promote their research, results, and which is very important. And so our team is, doing the research on presentation. Well, first I would like to show one example in this slide. So we showed 2 presentation videos to our engine, which were first to our engine. So you can tell who they are from those illustrations. One is the Steve Jobs and the other is Bill Gates' presentation. And our engine, without learning who they are, told us that Steve Jobs' presentation is funny, ingenious, jaw-dropping, fascinating, and informative, which is very close to our own human impressions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, how about Bill Gates? So the Bill Gates presentation is more like scientist. So his way of speaking might not be funny or fascinating, nor ingenious, but his way of speaking is very accurate and very scientific. Mm-hmm. So our engine predicted that his way of speaking is persuasive and courageous. So this is the difference that our engine can tell. And you might think that, hey, well, this engine is just highlighting some impressions randomly, but it's not. We have already confirmed that we can achieve 93% accuracy when we apply our technology to TED Talks, because the TED Talks have some ground truth data by themselves. And well, this slide is a bit small, I'm afraid, but this technology is already available to the public. Well, unfortunately, this is not free, but once you upload your presentation videos or recorded sounds, we can analyze what kind of impressions the audience would have, or we can also show the temporal changes of such impressions. So by getting this kind of feedback to the audience, to the speaker, we can improve our own presentation skills. So it's like karaoke evaluation, system. So if you do the presentation in front of your smartphone, the smartphone can give you some feedback. Which part should be improved or modified? Mm-hmm. And the last example is the becoming popular in social networks. So a lot of people, including a lot of companies, they care very much about the number of views or number of likes or number of favorites in their posts, right? Because such numbers directly reflect, how many times the content was delivered to consumers or to your friends, right? So we can also, of course, we can predict the number of likes or number of views, but you might think that this is very easy task. So here we would like to introduce enhancing the number of likes. And I would like to play another game with you.
I hope I can be correct.
Yeah. Okay. In this slide, I would like to show you that hashtags really matters a lot, even though people pay attention a lot to hashtags. So let's upload this photo onto your social network account like Twitter or Instagram, whatever you want. And let's make this photo as popular as possible. Mm-hmm. What kind of hashtags would you annotate with this photo? Any ideas?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think
okay.
We shouldn't say something too obvious. Oh, there's options.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I can give you two options. So the option one is BW, meaning the black and white in internet. Or Portugal, because this photo was taken in Portugal, although we cannot tell. And the option number two is BW again, and smoking, because this person is smoking. Which one do you think would become more popular than the other?
I think smoking to me is too obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Portugal give additional information. But I don't know how popular is the hashtag Portugal. Sometimes it depends on the trend. But I want to bet that headset one more than headset two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so which one would you vote?
Maybe a bit more set one than set two.
Set one. You're wrong.
Okay.
Okay, we actually uploaded this photo with those hashtags, and 4 days later, the number of views was 8 for the headset number 1 and 30 for headset number 2. So 3 to 4 times larger number of views can be achieved with the headset 2. So the popularity, well, we can say that the popularity is strongly affected by hashtags because the people search the content, the content on the internet, on the social network by using hashtag, retrieval.
Right.
And but on the other hand, ordinary users, including myself, do not know which tags are more influential than the others, right? So we are trying to let the AI recommend hashtags that are more influential to us. So, I don't want to go into the technical details today, but here's our engine, which was presented in two top, AI and multimedia related conferences. And the interesting result is here on the bottom. So we uploaded 1,000 photos onto Flickr, one of the very famous social networks. And we waited for 10 days. And y-axis is the average number of views. So the blue one, the bottom one, is the case, is the result when the human generated the hashtags. Mm-hmm. And by using our technology, even with exactly the same image content, we can achieve 3 times more number of views by changing the hashtags. So which gives a great impact on the industry, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the brief introduction of our research activities. So our research group is working on attractiveness computing, including prediction or reasoning or enhancement of the image or video content. Mm-hmm. And today I showed some examples to the social network or advertising or presentation design. So our research team is expanding our idea to apply to other research fields. That's pretty much. Thank you.
Right. Great. Thank you so much for a very quick introduction. So I think I found a common discovery in your presentation, which is human common sense sometimes doesn't really work very well.
Right.
And the ability to combine data, especially not only the image, in the hashtag example, you also combine perhaps the language, popularity, performance, and also in the presentation you combine audio, which is basically the essence of multimedia processing.
Yes.
Right. So a follow-up question I just wanted to ask is, we know that multimedia process has been established for many years. Mm-hmm. Did you see nowadays combining really the multiple types of data much easier than before? And how do you think the future gonna be? Is it become much more easier and then mm-hmm. much more powerful and so on?
Yeah, I think it is. Thanks to the deep learning technologies, once the features are extracted from images or sound or natural languages, all the features can be fed into the same network. So we don't have to care from which domain the data came from. Mm-hmm. So I think the multimodal or multimedia research, researchers are becoming much easier than before. Right. And it's more powerful. It really helps us.
Yes, definitely. And in Appier, we also see that deep learning was beneficial a lot with big data. Mm-hmm. And in digital marketing, it's great. We have a lot of implicit feedback on the internet. So the network learns itself. It not necessarily follow your original intuition, but it learns to be better and better itself. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the sharing. And the follow-up types of question I wanted to actually dive in deeper to how are you enabled to establish so many collaboration with the industry company in Japan? Is it quite common, or do you have certain tips you can suggest researcher in this area?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I don't think it's common in Japan. Mm-hmm. It is encouraged by Japanese government or our universities. But of course, as you may understand, the collaboration is very difficult. But in my case, when we start, first of all, now I have been collaborating with 30 to 40 industries, not only in Japan, but in all over the world. But of course, and some people say that, hey, you are a professor of the University of Tokyo, so it must have been very easy for you to find a partner, but it was not.
I see.
Well, because everybody didn't know me, right? So what I did for the first was, attend a lot of tech-related meetings or meetup meetings, and talk to the engineers in the industry, what we have been doing, and why we would like to collaborate with the industries. So we kept doing that many times, and then after that they understand, oh, they're serious, right? So they are seriously would like to collaborate with us. So that's how we establish our good relationship with each other and exchange the data and ideas with each other.
I see. Wow, it's great to know these tips. I also observed it's really, the passion from the researcher going through the necessary step of communication. We need to definitely communicate well with the domain experts to understand what are the important things to achieve for them, and then we can come back and see what are the tools we have help them achieve their goal. Great.
So passion is a very important keyword.
Right. And this is also passion that brought me to Appier 2 years ago. Really wanted to try out those things in the industry. Right. So great, thanks for sharing. So I also went across one of your industry collaboration work related to attractiveness computing, which is helping a matching app to match people better. Would you like to share a little bit about that examples, like what kind of data you use, and it sounds really interesting, I guess.
So the reason why I started that project is I wanted to support younger generations. The people pay a lot of attention to elderly people, which is fine, but all the others are, helping elderly people. So I wanted to support younger generation because younger generations are not supported very well. Because, for example, the government, hey, you are young, so you can help yourself, something like that. Yeah. So the enough money or enough technology wouldn't go them. So that was one of the reasons why I started, the research on online dating, and also I'm also doing some research on education and the child care. So that are also the younger generation support.
Yeah.
And for the online dating service, of course, we have been doing how they can match better by analyzing their activities or preferences.
Right. Yeah, that's a really great and important motivations. I think not only in Japan, in a lot of countries in Southeast Asia, we have this issue of elder generation, but then people who is young is left behind somehow, and we have fewer birth rates, so matching is an important first step.
It is,
Yeah, that's really great to hear that for matching and also education and childcare. Great. All right, so next I wanted to ask a bit more futuristic topic. So you have achieved many things, and we both observed deep learning breakthrough. So looking into the future, what are the top 2 or top 3 important topics that you have in mind that we should be all focusing on?
Okay, that's a great question. So the one research interest is understanding the fundamental theory of the deep learning. For example, the explainability, how and why the deep learning gave that result, or why the deep learning can be easily fooled by adversarial attacks.
Right.
So we have already some ideas on adversarial attacks, and well, I think it's really interesting and important fundamental research problem.
Mm-hmm.
And another direction that I'm interested in is creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So, extending or expanding our research field. So we have already achieved the presentation analysis or advertisement analysis, but they are all analysis only.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to enhance more creativity of human by using our technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know how I can do that, but we have been struggling with, enhancing the creativity of the human designers or creators.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So actually, that's a great thing you bring up, creativity. Actually, in your talk, in your previous research, I think you already touched upon, for example, what are the hashtags you should add to increase the popularity, and in that one sense, it's a discrete way to add on creativity to improve the popularity. But I think obviously the holy grail for researchers like us might be how could we automate more the creativity process or given tools to humans, they could increase their productivity in creating an image, creating an article, and so on. And in fact, actually, Appier, 2 years ago, we have a triple AI paper helping designer to design clothes that increase popularity in different
ways.
Right. And you also mentioned about the adversarial attack. That's also a very interesting question. So I do observe. So when adversarial attack has been proven maybe 5 years ago, I think a lot of people are very nervous. But fortunately, in some domains such as digital marketing, we are not that prone to such an attack.
Right.
But in healthcare or in self-driving or
Yes.
other cases will be very important. Do you think that the business domain expert that trying to apply deep learning are all have enough awareness about this potential risk of applying deep learning in very risk averse area? And what is your observation?
Well, I don't think so. And in my personal opinion, making everything autonomous is not a good idea. I believe the human should be involved in making decisions. So even for example, autonomous driving, as you pointed out, of course, the autonomous driving is a very convenient for elderly people or disabled people, or logistics. But I strongly believe that the human should be there.
Right.
And from that point of view, adversarial attacks or such security issues should not be a big problem. But I don't know. Some other people might have different opinions. So that is why I'm still, working on such fundamental research problems.
Yes. I guess one easy way is to detect those attacks, but fundamentally, we need some theory to prove that we could redesign the method, redesign the network to some extent such that the attack is gonna happen in very low probability or somehow. Yeah, and so far we don't have that tool to reach that guarantee.
No.
Definitely.
But I think it's very difficult. It's like, making antivirus software, which is almost perfect, right?
Oh yeah.
Nobody can tell, your antivirus software is perfect.
Yeah.
Or low risk.
Yeah, until the next attack appears.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for sharing the futuristic direction.
Thank you.
Then I think the next two questions I wanted to actually go back to the current situation, and we all know that the biggest topic nowadays is COVID-19.
Yes.
right? And that's how we're making this virtual conference call, right? So I wondered, did COVID-19 actually affect your work, research, or teaching? And would you share with us how are you be able to handle it, the situation, or maybe the people in Japan society is handling the situation?
Oh, that's a very good question. So, we are really affected a lot by COVID-19. Well, our research is, I would say our research group is not very much affected from the viewpoint of the research progress, because we can do programming anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Right? But the problem is the communication. So we have new students or new staff every year. Well, we started our new school year in April. So a lot of new students came join our lab right after the COVID-19 the situation.
Right.
And they cannot meet each other, and I cannot meet them. So that's the serious issue, because they cannot tell who to talk to if they have questions.
Right.
And the same problem is happening to the university. Well, a lot of people say that, hey, the online lecture is available. So what's the meaning of the university? But I believe that the value of the university is the place where we can get together. You can get to know each other, you can make friends, and you know a lot of you can know a lot of professors or other researchers in different fields in one place. That's the value the university or other community can provide. Right? The studying online is possible, but you cannot expand your own, your world. Right. So from that point of view, the COVID-19 is affecting us a lot. So we would like to get back to normal as soon as possible. For example, we are, going to start a new semester, winter semester, very soon. Right. And we have been discussing how we can, provide the face-to-face communication services to our, to our students. Of course, everything cannot get back to normal, so we are, redesigning step by step.
Right. That's definitely a great point. I guess before COVID-19, we are so used to, for example, in the university, all the talented people are not too far from each other, so you can always come there and say hi, and then run into a brilliant conversation just on the hallway. But now you need to, make an appointment, arrange a meeting.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes for the newcomer is really scary to, establish a one-on-one call with your professors. Yeah.
Otherwise, they cannot meet new people.
Right.
Yeah. So the Zoom is very convenient tool. Well, online video conferencing tools are very useful and convenient, but only when we know each other already.
Right. So maybe this is also, I'm hypothesizing because of this, maybe this is also a big driving force to push our younger generation more into the virtual world, such that they can make friends easier in the virtual world. For example, I know there's a very popular game called Animal Crossing. Seems to be very popular in the younger generations. So they cannot play Pokemon Go in the real world anymore. So they do the fully virtual version of Animal Crossing. And I don't know. Maybe next year, if our academia conference still need to be virtual, we might all go into Animal Crossing and meet each other and have a beer. I don't know. Yeah, but that brings me to the final question, which is there's pros and cons due to COVID-19, and one of the thinking to the bright side COVID-19 is really the biggest driving force for digital transformation.
Exactly, yes.
Did you observe something rapidly happen in Japan's school or the company you're collaborating with, such that big digital transformation is true also going rapidly in Japan these days?
Well, it really depends. Well, it depends on how flexible they are. Well, I observed some companies has drastically shifted for AI-driven or technology-driven services,
Right.
and they get very successful. But I know some other companies want to keep how can I say as they are. Some people don't want to change. They want to be kind of traditional.
I see.
Yeah. So I don't know which is correct. Well, maybe both decisions are correct. Well, it really depends on them. Up to them.
Yeah, I think So I think nowadays transformation is important, but being unique is also important. But at the end of the day, I guess the markets are really interesting that no human expert can predict the market. And what I actually believe and also align with your sharing is, as long as we have some data feedback, then we can know if this strategy is good for a certain company. So what I have observed, at least in a lot of companies in Asia Pacific, is they at least started to go into a more data-driven way to measure the decision and the consequence. And that might be the first step for data-driven decision-making. And then if they figure out some of the steps they do are correct in the digital world, then they could invest more. And to me, in order to do that, nowadays they probably need to partnership with some company that have such tools to be ready to use. So the final questions I want to discuss is, so you share about your own experiences to cope with the COVID-19. Do you have some advice to students or researcher in the academia and industry nowadays in the AI field? What is the best thing we do now? And also, what should we expect after COVID-19, maybe next year or a few years later?
Okay, that's a very difficult question to answer. But I would say don't limit yourself to a specific research area or research topic. Don't stick to them. So in other words, you might want to enlarge your research world, to be able to survive in this unstable world. So being stick to something is very dangerous. So you have to have wider point of view. So that's the advice I can give to younger generation.
Yeah. So I think that's a great advice because our human nature sometimes is stay low key and do yourself. But then in this time of uncertainty, what we really need is widening our view to seize the opportunity and to adapt fast.
Yes.
And I think that works very well for the young generations if they wanted to study more or even study abroad or become doing a startup. You need to adapt.
Yeah, that's a great option.
Right.
Researchers do not have to compete with other researchers in foreign countries. They have to dive into other communities and collaborate with them and bring something back to their own community. That's how your community and their community can grow more. So you don't have to hide something behind you should share everything with everybody. That's my personal opinion. So my advice to the AI researchers in Japan is be open. Don't stick to something again. Yeah. And well, another thing is this is I repeat saying this every time, but the deep learning will be replaced with something else very soon, as the history tells us. So don't stick to deep learning. That's the advice I always give to my students and younger generations. So the students these days, they say, oh, I want to do deep learning. If it's not deep learning related project, I'm not interested in it. Well, wait. For example, all the technologies had been replaced with some new technologies, like SVM was replaced with deep learning, but the SVM replaced the second generation multi-layer perceptron or the other machine learning algorithms. That kind of innovation every 10 years. And the deep learning was invented not invented, but came to our world in 2012. So I strongly believe that the deep learning related technology will be replaced something else very soon, within 5 years. So we have to be ready for that. So what I teach to my students is not to study only deep learning related methods, but understand the fundamental technology behind that. So that's the message I always give to my students and AI researchers.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Yeah. Actually, I wondered if the last part could be shared.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Technology
no
part.
problem.
Yeah, because I fully agree. No algorithm is always going to be the best algorithm.
No.
Algorithm is something human develop, and it's most suitable for its own use case, and it will evolve over time. So, yeah, being adaptive, being open, more collaboration is the way to go. It's both for the academia and also in the industry. We although we compete, but we also collaborate with a lot of partners.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Professor Yamasaki. It's a
Thank you very much.
pleasure to listen to all your research, your tips on collaborating with people in industry, as well as great advice to survive and after COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. It was a great, pleasure to me to have a joint session with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.